we'll see how difficult for us living in chaos to witness the outcome of our meditation, and a few words of advice from DK. And then we will talk about the esoteric healing rule 2, which we've adapted for the group. And lastly, we will discuss why use the 3 cities triangle: London, Geneva, and New York. DK tells us, or rather told his disciples at the time, you who are working in the midst of the chaos and conflict cannot and will not be able to judge accurately the measure of accomplishment. Only the members of hierarchy, masters, initiates, and disciples that are out of incarnation at this time can get a true perspective. The working disciples in the forefront of the battle have to carry on their work in the midst of chaos, turmoil, questioning, pain, and distress. They cannot, therefore, see the picture whole. And DK tells us that the Christ spoke a true word to his bewildered disciple when he said, "Blessed are they who have not seen and yet have believed." So the following of the meditation, the adherence to the instructions given, the persistence in the face of difficulty, and a staunch belief in the beauty of the human spirit, in the love of God, in the victory of the forces of light, and in the approach of the coming wonder Christ. These are the attitudes which we, hierarchy, workers on the inner side, ask of those we chose to carry on our work upon the outer plane. Now, I underline this sentence so that we can highlight that in our mind. Note that DK says, ask of those we choose to carry on our work. So if you have responded to this meditation, it begs the question, have you been chosen? And then you have responded to that inner call. Something to think about. The goal of all experience has been revelation, and each revelation carrying the initiate closer to the heart of the sun, wherein all things are known and felt, and through all forms, all beings, and all things can be bathed in love. Ponder on these words, DK tells us, for the microcosmic correspondence to the macrocosmic fact is full of teaching value. So see to it that each lesson learned each day, each revelation grasped and understood, makes your heart full of love and enables you to love your fellow man with ardent, fiery warmth. The adaptation now of Rule 2. Now, this triangle is very familiar to you, where we invoke soul energy from the egoic lotus, and then we superimpose it on the chakric triangle. We place it on to form one triangle, and then we vitalize the Glen triangle, and then we distribute it and direct it via our Ajna triangle. We are all very familiar with that. So what we've done is we've adapted similar triangles for the Rule 2 for the group, humanity, where the healing group consciously invokes energy from the emanating triangle of spiritual powers, which DK gave us in Reappearance of the Christ, the Buddha, Spirit of Peace, and the Avatar of Synthesis. Then we step it down and we blend it with the energy of the soul and with hierarchy. And then we impress and vitalize the group's etheric chakras, and then direct that dispelling radiance or the higher radiatory vibration that we've just invoked into the 3 inlets of the etheric body of humanity. In these 3 words, light, love, and power, the energies of Christ's 3 associates, the Great Triangle, which stands in power behind him, they are described as the energy of the Avatar of Synthesis, power, the embodiment of will and power, implementing both light and love. The energy of the Spirit of Peace, the embodiment of love, establishing right human relations. And the energy of the Buddha, light, for the light ever comes from the East. And at the center of this triangle, the Christ took his stand, and from that point, his Aquarian work began, and it will continue for 2,500 years. So in the application of Rule 2 for the group, 3 cities were used: London, Geneva, New York. Why these 3 cities? The Tibetan tells us that there are 5 inlets scattered over the world. And wherever one of those inlets for spiritual force is found, there will also be present a city of spiritual importance in the same location. So these 5 points of spiritual influx are London for the British Empire, New York for the Western Hemisphere, Geneva for Europe, including, well, what used to be the USSR, but now it's Russia, and all these countries that used to be part of the USSR. 4th, Tokyo for the Far East, and Darjeeling for India and the greater part of Asia. And under the plan and contingent upon the energies pouring through the 5 planetary centers, Tokyo, London, Geneva, New York, and Darjeeling, according to plan, there are 3 great fusing energies present upon our planet. Russia, fusing and blending Eastern Europe and Western and Northern Asia via the planetary center Geneva. 2, the United States and later on South America, fusing and blending Central and Western Europe and the entire Western Hemisphere. And thirdly, the British Empire, fusing and blending races and men throughout the entire world. Now, here's an arresting statement here. In the hands of these nations lies the destiny of the planet. These are the 3 major world blocks from the consciousness angle and from the angle of world synthesis. Great world problems are being worked out in each of these 3 nations. In Great Britain, the problem of socialism is being resolved, and the sound judgment of the people will eventually balance the two conditions of a socialist program and free enterprise. And the UK is the nucleus of the British Commonwealth of Nations, wherein a great experiment in free government is being tried out. In the USA, we have the problem of the relationship between capital and labor, awaiting solution. The USA is a fusing center wherein all nationalities are represented and are being slowly blended into a miniature one humanity. And a great experiment in right relations is being undertaken and is making real progress. And in the USSR, we have the problem of the leveling of the masses in all classes. This leveling produces serious conflict, and one that is little realized by those who cannot penetrate into the sealed citadel, which is Russia. It is really a conflict between the mounting human spirit and the force of totalitarian regime which seeks to hold it down, killing individualism. The innate strength of the human spirit to rise has never yet failed. And this conflict will prove the agent in harmonizing many factors. So Russia is in reality, whether she realizes it or not at present, is undertaking a great experiment in education. And in spite of evil methods and sinning against the soul of human freedom, eventually this educational process will prove convincing to the world and provide a world model. It's not yet, but it's in the making. So in these three great nations, therefore, the three major divine aspects are being brought into manifestation, thus laying the foundation for the new world order. All three are of equal importance. In Great Britain, right human government, will or power. In the USA, right human relations, love, wisdom. And in the USSR, the right use of the mind, intelligence. And in connection with all these three great powers, certain major conflicts are being specifically precipitated. These will fundamentally affect the destiny of humanity. These three nations constitute the 3 points of a most potent world triangle of energy. And once there is a free circulation and a true understanding established between them, then world peace will be assured and the Christ will come. And in the hands of the United States, Great Britain, and Russia, but also in the hands of France, lies the destiny of the world disciple humanity. Humanity has been passing through the tests which are preparatory to the first initiation. They've been hard and cruel and are not yet entirely over. And isn't that the case even today? So humanity is still going through the tests of the first initiation. The lords of karma, 4 in number, are today working through these 4 great powers. And it is, however, a karma which seeks to liberate as does all karma. Thank you, friends. Thank you for your patience.